Okay, so today we are upgrading the 6.5-inch screen with a 8-inch glass display. Yeah, so for this to work, you're going to need a 2016 and up Golf with the MIB2 unit here. Yeah, so let's get started. First thing, you just want to make sure that your negative battery terminal is disconnected. So we see, press start, nothing happens, car's not going to start on us. So first thing we're going to do is take off the trim here. You're really going to want to make sure you have some trim removal tools for this. So the first thing you're going to try to do is under this, you want to pop this out. There's clips here, here, and here. So first thing we're going to do is come up from the bottom. These are plastic, but I just like to wrap them in some microfiber cloth just to be on the safe side. This one. So this whole vent unit does come with the airbag indicator, the hazard switch, and the vents. So they're all going to come out in one. The kit that I got doesn't have the vents installed, so we'll have to transfer the vents out. Haven't done it before, but we'll just see what it looks like, and if I need to cut, I will. I want to push the airbag sensor out from behind, and we'll disconnect it. Remember, disconnect your negative battery terminal before you do this, because if you unplug this while your battery is still connected, you can get a airbag warning, which is not fun. This one, and let's get a little. There's a little indentation, little button on the clip here. We'll pull that out. There you go. Let's go ahead, feed this through. So either way, we're going to need to transfer the vents over to the new bezel, which shouldn't be difficult. I did it for the P3 gauge. There's just some clips up here all around, and the vent will just pop out. But while we're here, we'll go ahead and remove the head unit. You will need some radio removal tools. The reason why this works, it's really just a display change. The the actual brains of the unit are hosted in the glove box in that little mounted computer here. So we're just changing the screen, so there isn't really anything, the display or anything's not going to change. It's upgrading from a 6.5 to a 8-inch screen. So to remove these, there's little diagrams. They go in here, one, and there's like a little it's a little diagram of your key removal tool to tell you which direction this goes in. They just slide right in. I'm assuming it's going to be the same on the top, same direction. They are. Okay. Now with these in, you should be able to just pull the radio out, and we do. Easy. Okay. On the back, your believe this is satellite. This is the regular radio connector here. Cool. So it's not too difficult. Take these out in a second. And what I'll do, I'll go ahead and I'll install the the new head unit first. Came shipped in some nice plastic. It is the gloss black bezel, so it matches the Golf R's black bezel. It is piano black, so it is kind of a fingerprint magnet, which you may or may not like. However, if you just look at the size difference, people say it's like a 20% increase. However, if you look at the screen real estate, it's pretty significant. That's 6.8 or 8 inches diagonally across. So there is a pretty big difference. Especially if you have CarPlay. It's nice having a larger screen. So wondering if it's easier to install, to unclip this and just install the vents. I'm just going to use a little pick, go around. I'm pushing on this back piece and kind of from the front as well when I undo these clips, but you don't really need much force as I completely break those clips. You don't need much force at all. So next up, we get to line up all these, and it should just be as easy as pushing the radio back in. However, I did hear, when I took the radio out, I did hear something fall in there, and I just want to make sure that I'm not missing anything. You know, I'm not feeling anything. So we'll just go ahead, install the whole thing here. From the back, some say you have to trim a little clip on here. However, that might be for the older models because this one looks like it just mates right up into the back of this. Just one clip. Install the main radio harness like that. Okay. And now we'll push the airbag. This is going to be fun. Airbag wires. Pull them through. And I'm going to put this airbag thing down for a second because these all kind of get pushed in together. So, holding this wire, there we go. Okay. So I just kind of got it propped up on the this little ledge here, just so I can plug this stuff in. Because you can't, it would just be harder to do it the other way. So, plug in the airbag harness. It's a 2-stage clip. So you see there's this red tab that pulls out to lock it. So we'll push this in, and then red tab, lock it in. It's a standard Volkswagen connector. If you've unplugged those before, you know how they work. Okay, so now we'll just line up the bezel with everything else. So take the bezel out. Now that the bezel is disconnected from the head unit, I can get the head unit plugged in correctly. There we go. Yeah, so 100% take the bezel, disconnect the bezel from the head unit before you do anything. So now head unit's locked into place as it should be. And we can put the bezel on. Making sure the vents are working again, because it's the last thing you don't want to work. Let's put this all back together and then realize that your your vents aren't working correctly. So the bezel gets pushed back in. The bottom of this bezel is the finickiest thing, so I'm going to mess around with this and I'll come back when it's done. Okay, so got it installed. I was right. The trick to it is just pushing it in all at the same force directly down or directly in. If you go at an angle up or down, that's when you start running into issues. But the bezel's on there, it's clicked into place, all the clips are in, lines up perfectly as it should. It's OEM. Have the airbag lights in and plugged in, so I'm going to go ahead and put on the negative battery terminal. Okay, so the negative terminal is connected. I have my airbag connectors in. Haven't pushed them in just yet. I will once we're done here. But we'll go ahead, power on the car. Oh wow. First thing I noticed is how much bigger the backup camera is. But you can see all my stuff is turning on because I had the battery disconnected, so I'll go ahead and start the car. Wow. Yeah, all this will start yelling at us until we drive. That is much larger. Yeah, that's a good bit larger. Go ahead, plug in our phone for CarPlay.
So it has disc brakes, so it stops. But it's,
wow, what an improvement.
So it's got some power.
Just the navigation itself is huge. That's awesome. Cool. Well, worthwhile upgrade for sure. Again, just for a size comparison, that's what we were looking at before. So even when you take in consideration the side buttons and everything, the screen real estate that you just get with this is just so much larger. I did go for the, let me just push this back in. I did go for the non-nav version, and here's the secret. If you have navigation, factory navigation like I do, the nav version of this is generally $100 more expensive than the non-nav version. The only difference being you don't have a navigation button, you have an app button. So honestly, the amount of times that I use navigation is slim. So instead of having a nav button, you can just hit menu and go into navigation, and then it'll bring up your factory navigation. Honestly, if you have CarPlay, why would you ever use factory nav, especially when you have Google Maps? So I think a better option for $100 less is to purchase this. And if you're going to use CarPlay or Android Auto anyway, just hit the app button. It'll take you right into CarPlay or Android Auto. So just a little tip. But yeah, worthwhile upgrade. Definitely worth $300, $350, however much you purchase it for. Yeah, no, this is great. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope you learned something.